1 month with the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra, and I'll be totally honest with you that I went in expecting another incremental upgrade. You know the type, new number, same phone and a higher price. But after using this every single day for 30 days, there are few things that Samsung did here that I did not expect. And there's one thing that might actually bother some of you, so watch first and buy smart. Now the first thing you'll notice when you pick this up is the fact that it is lighter because Samsung ditched the titanium this year and went back to armor aluminum. Now some might say that is actually a downgrade, but honestly after a month of using this, I prefer this particular weight, and it's also thinner too. Not dramatically thin, but you can actually feel it when you use this daily. Now this is in the hero color, which is cobalt violet. Now I honestly was thinking of getting the white because if you know me, you know, but there was something about this purple metallic sheen that really made me appreciate this color more. And the S Pen has also redesigned as well. It is very much thinner this year and has a slightly curvature to it, which means that there's now a right way to put it back. But there's one thing that might bother a certain type of people, where if you are someone who likes to put the phone flat when you type the phone on the surface, this phone totally wobbles a lot. But I do have a solution for that, and I'll show you exactly why in a bit. And also worth mentioning is the fact that this phone did not heat up during setup, where if you ever set up a new flagship before, that is usually the case. And all of this means that the phone is lighter, it is thinner, and has a better S Pen, and yes, the wobble that comes with it, but we'll fix that shortly. Now the display is Samsung doing what Samsung does best. You know how Samsung screens are the best in the business? Yeah, still very true. Now the anti-reflective coating is very close to what the S25 Ultra had. Not identical, but very close enough that most people won't even notice the difference. But the real story here is the privacy display. Because this isn't a screen protector style privacy filter, this blocks all viewing angles, horizontal, vertical, and even off-axis, and you can set it for specific apps and notifications only. But in case you're wondering how does this actually work, well, Zach from Jerry Rig Everything actually put this under a microscope, and basically it's selectively turning off the wider pixels on the display, which is very genius honestly. Now if you're wondering whether I use this privacy display all the time, well no, and here's why. Because when you turn it on, the overall screen does get dimmer, and I'm not sacrificing Samsung's amazing screen brightness for privacy on my Instagram feed, right? But I do love how Samsung has made this customizable, as mentioned earlier, because they didn't slap a blanket privacy mode and just call it a day. They actually let you apply it on specific apps or just for your notifications and password. So yeah, that's actually a right way of doing things, especially when you introduce a new feature, because you can't predict everybody's behavior when they use the phone. But there's one more thing about turning the privacy display on universally or in the camera app, is that when you're shooting a photo in a low angle, you cannot see your own screen. So if you're taking lots of photos with your phone, keep that in mind. And even with this privacy display turned on, just so you know, it does not affect the ultrasonic fingerprint sensor at all, which is still great to know. Now the screen on this has the Corning Gorilla Glass Armor 2, but if you want to protect the screen further, you can use Dbrand's Prism screen protector, which works perfectly with this, and it also works with the privacy display too. And Dbrand gives you two just in case you mess it up for the first time, which trust me, you won't, and you'll end up having with two screen protectors. But more importantly, Dbrand cases comes with very strong magnets built in, so whether or not you go for the anti-yellowing ghost case, the very reliable grip case, or the absolutely indestructible tank case. Now remember the wobble I mentioned earlier? Well, this cases eliminates them completely, so that is your solution. And honestly, this cases looks very sick too. So do head on to dbrand.com/AdamLoboTV for a great offer on these cases. Links will be at the description. So yes, the screen is definitely one of the biggest reasons to own a Samsung phone, especially when it comes to watching videos, and yes, the speakers is still amazing. Next, when it comes to the cameras, I've already tested this extensively, photos on all of the lenses during the day and night, and the video quality, the stabilization, the whole entire thing about the cameras. Now I'll be having a dedicated camera review coming, so make sure you subscribe to this channel in case you haven't done so. But here's what stood out to me after a month of actual use, which is the APV Samsung log. Now APV stands for Advanced Professional Video, and the easiest way to think about that is like how iPhone has ProRes, that is Samsung, or this APV mode is Samsung's answer to that. Now another thing that APV also solves is that most phones' videos are compressed aggressively to keep the file sizes small, and the problem is that every time you edit a reel, for example, you export it and then you put it on a subtitle app or even like CapCut, and then you re-export, that loses quality. So it's like photocopying a photocopy. Each round it gets worse. So using this APV codec keeps way more of the original image or the video information intact. And the S26 Ultra is the very first smartphone to ever support this particular codec. We can find this in the settings under the camera app settings. Now make sure you turn on log for the recording mode, because you can think of this like shooting in RAW for photos, and that is where the LUTs comes in, because among all, Samsung's blockbuster LUT will transform your footage into real cinematic footage. Now I'm not usually a fan of built-in LUTs because they usually look fake and over-processed, but this one I was truly impressed, as you can see over here. Then there's the new Horizon lock, which is something that went viral as soon as it was introduced on the S26 Ultra. Now that is something that I absolutely do not need, because I have been reducing my coffee intake, so my hands are very stable for years. Now the way it works is very clever, because it uses the full 200 megapixel sensor and crops it in to stabilize, but since it crops in into the sensor, that also means that it will have some resolution drop, and you also need better lighting to use this. Now as for someone who have been shooting 6K resolution for many years now, I personally prefer to keep the phone a bit more steady, but for casual shooting, or if you actually casual shoot a lot, this is actually very useful. So this would be very beneficial for people who are not very steady with their hands when shooting, or probably when you're in a concert and you're jumping and using your phone to record. That could be very useful. Now stay tuned for my full camera breakdown once again, because if you haven't seen my dedicated camera videos before, well, trust me, you want to watch that. But before we go into the battery performance, if you guys are finding this video helpful so far, do give this video a nice big thumbs up to tell the people running the YouTube algorithm that this video was good for you, and a subscription would be very lovely too. So thank you, and thank you very much in advance. Now battery life is slightly better than last year, although it has the same 5000 milliamps of battery as last year and even the year before, where I got an average close to 6.5 hours of screen on time with 12% battery left. And I've been running it with a WQHD Plus with the always on display the whole time with no compromises at all. Now charging speeds have also improved to 60 watts of wired. That got me from 0 to 45% in 15 minutes. So yeah, that's your lunch break top up. And then wireless charging has also gotten a bump too, to Qi 2.2 25 watts, which is great if you are a wireless only charging person like me. Now all of this means that you are getting through a full day comfortably and back to full faster than before. Now as for software, as of the recording of this video is at One UI version 8.5. Now since it was released, there have been few updates, which was really great to know. Now I turned on every single Galaxy AI feature in the menu, but I didn't toggle the process data only on device, because honestly, if this whole entire AI makes my life easier, I don't mind my data being shared. Now among all, there's few features that actually stuck to me after a month's use. Firstly is the audio eraser, which works across YouTube, Netflix, and even on Instagram, where there's a dedicated tile in the control center menu for you to adjust it accordingly when you're playing a video. So that was a very nice and a useful touch. Then the photo assist over here has been heavily improved to basically give you unlimited edits, from filling up a cookie jar to changing from day to night. It works perfectly almost all the time compared to any other AI. But heads up, the resolution on the edited AI photos is lower than the original, so if you're a resolution nerd, keep that in mind. And then Circle to Search 3.0 now lets you search up to 3 things on the screen at once without you needing to circle. So why Google call it Circle to Search again? They should just call it Look to Search, up to 3 or something like that. Yes, so you just have to tap and hold and you're all set. Then smart replies have improved significantly, especially when it comes to messaging, but now Nudge hasn't popped up for me yet. Now I've been using the Samsung keyboard during my use, so I'll keep you updated on that. Then Bixby, remember Bixby? It's stronger this year because it can now handle phone level adjustment with just your voice. So you can do brightness adjustments or any settings. You don't need to dig into the menus. Now, One UI is already a very good software where I feel like the menu system is very great, but this would be very helpful, especially if you are a new Samsung user. Now when it comes to the chipset, it's using the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 for Galaxy compared to the Exynos ones on the other variants of the model. And the chipset over here has been flawless, no complaints, because games ran super smooth for games like Genshin Impact at these settings shown over here. And so it was for wuthering waves too, with no overheating issues at all during my entire month's use. Now if you want a written recap of everything mentioned in this video, we do have one at our website at www.adamlobo.tv, where we also have some daily tech news over there too. Links to the website will be down below. So after 1 month, the question is, who is the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra actually for? Well, if you're on the S23 Ultra or older, this is a clear upgrade. No question, because it has better cameras, better AI, and meaningful improved charging. And of course, a lighter build as well. But everything mentioned earlier only makes sense if the price makes sense too. And here's where Samsung actually surprised me and everybody, because here's the thing really worth mentioning, because Samsung didn't raise the price this year despite the component cost going up, despite RAM prices going crazy. So there's actually a very big deal that a lot of people are sleeping on. Now if you're on the S24 Ultra or the S25 Ultra, then the upgrade math is harder. Now the privacy display and the camera improvements are real, but if your current phone is working great, you can actually wait. Now for me personally, after a month, this is the best Android phone I've used, because the cameras alone are worth a whole separate video, which is coming soon.